Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we are talking about, is this tip baiting? Instacart delivery drivers called out unethical practice where customers change tip amounts upon delivery. Now I know it's Instacart and I get it. This is also an Uber Eats problem, by the way. But I think the point of the matter still stands. Tip baiting is bullshit. Also, that's GigLife. If you don't know GigLife's channel, I'll leave it in the description. I thought it was cool that he went viral. If there's anything that pisses me off in this world more than no tippers or people defending the practice of not tipping, is tip baiting. Is when people say they're gonna tip and then rescind it later. It is straight evil. That is the most unethical practice in all of the gig economy. If that's the type of person you are a jerk. I don't care what anybody says. Now, some people might hear me say that and be like, oh, but sometimes they actually deserve to be not tipped. If you're willing to mess with my financial stability because of your ego, you're 100% wrong. I am that strong about it. It's funny because tip baiting, tipping, and not tipping is along the same lines as politics and religion at this point. You will develop enemies when you talk about it. So with that said, I actually want to go through everything in this article because I'm interested to hear what GigLife had to say about it, and I'm also interested in how people are responding to it. So with that said, let's get started. Instacart delivery drivers calling attention to an unethical practice called tip baiting, where customers incentivize them to pick up their order with a large tip that they change upon delivery. That is slightly off as a definition. It's they incentivize them with a large tip and then they take it away. If you add more, then that's just like gravy on top. You are free to tip more if you'd like. Most people don't, but I'm sure there's not a lot of people that are against the concept. But in most cases, it's reduced for some reason. Honestly, that practice is really disgusting, and it should never be a part of any gig app, especially with Instacart, where you have to shop for everything. It's not like you just pick up an order and then you place it someplace. No. You have to shop for every individual item, spend about an hour doing so if you're not good at it, and drop it off, and then they take the tip away. That's disgusting. People like that disgust me. Working for an independent delivery service application like DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates, Instacart offers employees the chance to set their own hours and work at their own pace. On paper, it sounds like a perfect side hustle to earn a few extra bucks, or maybe a full-time gig depending on how well people tip in your area. This isn't that great of a description of what the gig economy is about. Not to mention they forgot Uber and Uber Eats and Lyft. Offers employees the chance to set their own hours and work at their own pace. We're not employees. We're independent contractors. Like many servers who work in restaurants, the income of delivery drivers is largely contingent upon how well people tip. Due to this, on delivery service applications, customers who don't tip in advance can experience long wait times for their orders. In some instances, delivery drivers will decline to accept deliveries without tips. And unlike people who work in restaurants, it's not like we work for DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, or anything like that. We work for ourselves and we receive orders from those applications. We're in business for ourselves. And yeah, you will experience long wait times if we don't feel that we're being paid the way we're supposed to be paid. Sometimes it's a little bit more than just a tip. Maybe it's like you're really far away from the restaurant and how well you tip. It's not well enough to justify the drive. You know what I mean? But that's why if you're going to go for those long distance orders, you might as well stick with apps like Uber Eats or Grubhub where they actually pay you for the mileage, not like DoorDash or Instacart, which is, it's really not about that for some reason. Although I haven't really experienced too many long distance Instacart orders. While tip baiting has become a hot topic for DoorDash on social media, it appears that Instacart shoppers are experiencing a similar phenomenon. A viral TikTok from Thatgiglife shows a small Instacart order with a base pay of $9.62 and a $385 tip in the overlay text. The creator asks, is this tip baiting? Well, first off, that GigLife, I'm going to leave his TikTok, his profile, and his YouTube channel in the description, so that way you could develop your own opinions on the subject. Also, he's got good content. I do think it is worth checking him out. That being said, this paragraph is inaccurate. DoorDash doesn't offer the option to take away the tip after you've already done so. Instacart does. Uber Eats does. Grubhub does not. DoorDash does not. There's still one thing I think that DoorDash does better than Uber Eats is that they don't allow tip baiting. Once it's there, it's there. That's it. There's no doubling back or baiting or any nonsense of the effect. However, the other side to that is if it's because a customer feels that they want to get a refund or something, they can end up deactivating you because now you're costing them money. I don't think that's actually happening as much as tip baiting. Instacart suggests a 5% tip for orders, while every service worker would value a large tip. This TikToker couldn't help but think whoever pre-tipped them $385.91 to complete their order must be baiting them into trying to go above and beyond, only to rescind the tip once the items have been delivered. I think that's the problem with Instacart, honestly speaking. As much as I would want to take an order that literally says $385.91 as a tip, I would be the guy to be like, am I going to get baited? Am I going to shop for that many orders only to have it baited from me? I feel like that I would be the guy to be side-eyeing every order at that point. Although one other thing I do have to say about this is that Instacart only suggests a 5% tip. That's ridiculous. It should be 20. And I'm saying that because that's how I was raised, not because of the actual niche of the subject. Like, I know that there's a difference between grocery delivery and food delivery, but how I was raised is across the board, there's a rule of thumb. $5 or 20%, whichever is higher. Some people aren't raised with those kind of ethics, though. Many commenters who saw the TikTok were also convinced that this was clear-cut case of tip bait. They're gonna change that to $3.85, one user said. At that point, wouldn't you just drop it to zero? I'm not trying to dismiss what he's trying to say. Like, he could be changing it to less than whatever it was, but if it's gonna be $3.85, why wouldn't you just change it to zero? I would actually feel better if they went from $385.91 to zero than $385.91 to $3.85, because that's condescending to me. That's a slap to the face. Like, you knew there was a level of intention there. Definitely baiting. What were the items? Another remarked. Oh, that's another good point. How many items? What were the items? Does a $385.91 tip actually make sense in that case? Let's say he was doing like a $3,000 order, for instance, and that was the actual tip. That actually kind of makes sense. She probably wanted to tip $38.55 a third room. That raises another point, actually. Could this have just been a mistake and not necessarily the intention of tip baiting? 100% possible. I sincerely doubt it, but it's 100% possible. Some folks offered up solutions to end tip baiting once and for all, which would include not allowing customers to alter tips once the order has been placed. They should make it to where they can't change it back, have a double verification on. If they accept that amount, they can't change it. I 100% agree with that. Once it's there, it's there. That's it. Now, the one thing I will say is that kind of goes both ways. That means they can't add anything more either. But that's fine, because I'd rather the predictability that I know exactly what I would be paid for the order than somebody having the opportunity to change the tip from 300 or some odd to zero. And if they really want to tip you more, they can always do it in cash. In fact, I've actually heard cases where people have Venmo'd or Cash App'd like tips to the driver, and they didn't want to go through Uber Eats or Grubhub. In my opinion, it's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. I think that it's phenomenal that GigLife took the time to expose tip baiting for what it is. And I also think it's phenomenal that his video went viral the way it did. And should Instacart actually change the whole concept of customers having the right to rescind their tip? Yes. Are they going to? Probably not. If I were to see that order, $395.53, which is the base pay plus the tip, I would actually just say no. In fact, I looked at the items. There are 4 items and 16 units in total. Unless the items were super heavy and super expensive, I sincerely doubt that it was worth it. Now, what about Uber Eats, where you're not doing as much of the shopping, and there's tip baiting on that platform too? There shouldn't be tip baiting on any platform. Tip baiting is evil. If you're the type of person who chooses to mess with somebody's financial stability, you're wrong. You're just 100% wrong. And quite honestly, people like that suck. So with that said, thank you, GigLife, for taking the time to expose, in my opinion, his criminal intentions of messing with the financial stability of gig workers through tip bait. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!